Hey, Najd has an achievement for basically just having 500 provinces while starting as the desert of Najd. Bunch of one base tax crap surrounded by one base tax crap. So, yeah, that's a fun challenge. And I'm going to try to complete it before June 14th or whenever the heck all previous save games become incompatible in the world as we know it comes to an end. So the primary challenge of any non-Western thing is, can you Westernize fast enough to make Westernization good? You know, good, as they say. Because you're going to be 40% behind on tech if you don't Westernize, and that's not super far behind. But if you go for a really long time not Westernize, so you're 40% behind, and then you Westernize, which costs 3,000 Monarch points, now you're like 60 or 80% behind, and you're just dead. So also the smaller you are when you Westernize, the easier it is to do, because you can Westernize in like 4 years instead of 15 years or something. So it's possible as a Muslim tech dude to never Westernize and still do okay. You can keep up on military tech and fall behind on all the other techs, and you'll be fine. But you'll have way fewer ideas than everyone else. So while everyone else will be running around with all 8 idea groups, you might only finish 4 or so. And that also is okay, because all you really need to win the game is trade, humanism, and any 2 military ideas, right? All the other ideas are just kind of like nice to have things that you add on top of trade and humanism. Like religious is great because it gives you a CB and it helps you to convert faster, but as Najd we have national ideas that give us +4 missionary strength. So we don't need religious to convert provinces. And the CB it gives you is great, but it's not required. You can just pay a bunch of diplo power to take provinces instead of getting them for free because you took religious ideas. Administrative cheap-ass mercenaries is fine, but the more money you have, the less it matters how much mercenaries actually cost. So taking trade is just as good. Cheaper coring, again, it just buys you some admin points, but if you're a Muslim tech and you never Westernize, then admin points are less valuable because you can't really tech up with them anyway. So whatever, let's spend them on coring stuff expensively. Expansion I never take in any game. Economy just improves the economy is less about these things, right? And more about the events. It'll give you a bunch of events that just give you plus base tax in all your provinces, which that's cool. But again, you can make enough money from trade that it doesn't matter how good your economy is. Innovative, for me, is mostly about the war score, war exhaustion reduction. It basically means you never have to pay down war exhaustion, which will save you a ton of diplotech. But again, saving yourself diplotech only matters if you care about your diplotech. Right? Diplomatic, basically lower impact of stability and cheaper unjustified demands and easier cost of reducing war exhaustion means that you can just basically constantly attack people without too many claims and take all their territory for 15 diplo instead of having to pay 50 diplo per province. So province war score cost minus 20% is also crazy cool. You can actually annex and vassalize people quicker with diplo ideas. But again, just because it's a cool idea group doesn't mean it's required to win the game. You can get by. Like, the lack of it just means you're gonna have to pay more diplomatic points. You're gonna lose monarch points, right? And exploration is only useful in the sense of Najd. It's only useful to Westernize quickly. So if you've decided not to Westernize quickly, then lack of exploration isn't gonna hurt you. Maritime is dumb, naval is dumb. Influence is basically just the same deal. Unjustified demands minus 50%. And reputation and aggressive expansion impact. It basically means you can have 6 real strong allies instead of 0 real strong allies. But if you're doing well enough to get the own 500 provinces achievement, the strength of your allies is going to be irrelevant. So by the time you unlock this idea, the game should already be wrapped up. You should already be way too big. Aristocratic, cheaper military tech, and better cavalry fighting, and more army tradition, and an extra general. It's okay. All of the military tech except for naval are okay. So any two of these combined will make you good enough to kick a lot of booty. So our goal, I think, is going to be to take humanism, trade, quantity and offensive, or quality and offensive, or defensive and aristocratic for army tradition, right? These two army tradition things mixed together will give you a huge bonus to life. And yeah, we'll probably take aristocratic as our very first idea, then defensive, then go for humanism, and then trade. And then from there, if we get any more ideas, I'd be really surprised. An alternate route would be to try to westernize by vassalizing Mazab in an OCB war, and then beating up Tlemcen and taking a couple of provinces, and then getting a border with Portugal and just westernizing from there. So it's actually not that hard for us to westernize pretty quickly just by doing that, attacking the African stuff. So I'm going to try westernizing a couple of times, and if I really don't feel like I can do it, then I'm going to go into the non-westernization 4 idea groups only kind of thing and just do that for the rest of the game. So our 3 primary rivals are Hejaz, Yemen, and Oman, but Hejaz and Oman together, they always ally each other, and they're very strong together, whereas these two wussy little people, the Hassa and the Shamar, I can vassalize. I mean, I can rival them now, but later I won't be able to, so it makes sense to rival them right off, kill them, and then rival Hejaz and Oman later on. We're obviously going to convert provinces. That's the whole point of this run. I'm going to go for negative piety. Positive piety is plus 10% morale and plus missionary strength. Negative piety is more manpower. I think more manpower, more money, and cheaper tech. So yeah, I like negative piety for Najd because of our idea that makes converting provinces easy. Normally, I always go for positive piety, but not this time. So let's make sure that we can westernize without having to take innovative. At one point during some patch, you had to take innovative in order to westernize, but I don't think that's true anymore. Yeah, no, it doesn't say that we need a certain tech or idea group. So we have the choice of rushing to our first idea group or just trying to max out our military points, because our first idea group is going to be a military idea, and we need lots of military points to get a military idea. So I'm going to go for the military. I don't think we don't have any money at all, so we don't have the money to run advisors just yet. Our local autonomy everywhere is 0. That's good. We have a little bit of unrest wherever we send our missionaries to. I think I should be able to... I was going to say I think I should be able to take a quest that gives me a CB against one of my neighbors, but I already took the quest to improve my prestige, so I can't take any quests. I'm going to delete all my ships and just go shipless for a long time. I intend to be entirely trade ship based once I've conquered Oman, but until I've conquered Oman, I might need enough ships to fight Oman in the ocean. Probably not, but I might. My opening 2 allies, Baluchistan and Adal, are both really weak, but if I ally no one, then I'll just get immediately killed by Hejaz. They'll fabricate claims and attack me because I have no allies. My real ally is going to be the Mamluks, but I think I should be able to survive without them until I've vassalized the Hassa or Shamar. I have been attacked by Hejaz and Oman before I managed to ally the Mamluks before when I go this route. It is kind of risky, but I think it'll, that's only happened once out of many times playing this nation, so I suspect I'll be okay. So my opening general, I'm going to fight with this dude, my heir. He's got 2 shock pips. That's quite awful, but Because starting army tradition is so low, 8.6, it's not worth the risk of trying to get a better general by paying 50 military points. If I fall behind on military tech, then all is lost. So let's not throw any of that away. Right away. We gained a claim on something. We gained another claim on something else. Okay, so we got a claim on Yemen. We got a claim on Shamar and Hassa. So all three of our rivals we have claims against. Yemen tends to get killed by Hijaz and Oman pretty early. So they also tend to ally Shamar. So that our first war will probably be Yemen. Our second war will probably be Yemen. Oh, they allied Hijaz. They got no allies, so we'll beat up Shamar first. So let's try to stack wipe them with my 6 troops against their probably 3. Like, all their provinces are desert, so it's not super surprising that they don't have very many troops. So you'll notice I'm taking a ton of war exhaustion just by standing out here. 0.05, right? That's as much as the entire idea group. Ooh, it looks like Hijaz attacked Yemen, just like I thought they would. So Yemen has no allies, and they're fighting Hijaz and Oman and the Hassa all at once. Right? So we should attack Yemen. But after they've lost all of their troops, we shouldn't just attack them right now. That would be bad. So we'll start improving relations with the Mamluks. It is possible to ally both the Mamluks and the Ottomans, but it's stupid because they always fight each other. And the Ottomans will never help you in any wars except for against QQ. And even against QQ, they're not that helpful. So I'm not going to ally the Ottomans at all this game. I'm going to help the Mamluks kill the Ottomans if I can. Because the Mamluks are closer to me, and so it makes more sense to ally them. Also, in my westernization rush, I intend to walk across the Mamluks' land to go beat up Mzab, so it's nice to have them as an ally. Alright, so Yemen... Let's find out when Yemen runs out of troops. Whoop. Yemen. Okay, I'm just gonna alphabetic. Like when the country you're looking up ends in a or begins with a Y. It's okay. They've only got 6,000 troops and no allies, so I could and they're fighting against 18,000 troops, so I should just attack them. But I want to finish this war, try to ally the Mamluks, and then attack them. So let's keep throwing things at the Mamluks and trying to convince them that we're sincere. We would sincerely like to be your allies. I'm going to get a lot of war exhaustion. And I do plan to constantly pay down war exhaustion all game, getting way behind on Diplotech for no long-term benefit. I usually try to avoid that and take innovative as my first idea so that I never have to pay down war exhaustion. Or take the idea that cheapens paying down war exhaustion. I think it's either diplomatic or influence. But this game... Oh, you know what? I'm westernizing this game, so maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should be more careful about war exhaustion. One way to avoid war exhaustion altogether is to... use mercenaries when you siege crap. So I can pay 50 Diplo for vassalization or 150 Diplo for all 3 provinces. I think it makes more sense to pay for vassalization. We can just annex them soon. Also, you get more army, more total strength if you vassalize someone. The reason I took the province and vassalized instead of just vassalizing and then letting them keep this province, which would help them more than me since it's their core, and then I'd get the core on it once I vassalize anyway, is because liberty desire is actually a reasonably big concern considering how weak my nation is. I'm a desert, so anyone I vassalize is going to have a ton of liberty desire because I'm a desert. So, you know. Adal says they would help me fight Hijaz, but they won't help me fight Yemen. But I don't need help fighting Yemen because Yemen's got no troops. So I'm going to get in there and try to siege some provinces, taking even more war exhaustion. I had intended to ally... Yemen went over force limits up to an 8-sized army, so I'm going to be a little careful. Please attach to me with your 0 troops. Royal marriage. I may have been able to ally the Mamluks before attacking Yemen. This may have been foolhardy. I like saying foolhardy. Oh, also I have to move my center. No. What are these guys? Merchant. My merchant. He needs to go collect from trade in my capital instead of sending me an extra 0.5 ducats a month, which is pointless. Alright, so there's those 8,000 Yemenis troops. And I've got my 7,000, including my ally. I'm gonna set my vassal to attach, because even though he's already attaching, I want to make sure he doesn't run off in suicide for no reason. I'm gonna hopefully wait for that 8th troop before I go in and start sieging. Nah, I don't care. So I really want Muka, because that gets me into Ethiopia. And if I can get over to Ethiopia, I can get a ton of land for basically free. And it counts as not far away land. Like, I get full monies from that stuff, whereas like a normal European wouldn't. Like Portugal, I don't think gets full monies for very much stuff in Africa. But I do, because I'm an African dude. I Africa all the time. I'm basically Mr. Africa. Or you could call me Mrs. Africa if you wanted to be weird. Call people Mrs. Africa. So it looks like I'm going to be fighting the 8,000 troops of Yemen with my own 7,000 troops. I beat them. Yay. I'm surprised they didn't attack the people that are kicking their butts instead of me. But that's why I kept my army together in one big blob instead of spreading out. Now I have 8,000 of my own troops, and I've already won a battle against them, so it's much less likely that they'll attack me at all, let alone succeed in attacking me. But I'm still not going to spread out, I don't think. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I could send... Yeah, I'm going to spread out. No, stop. Oh, jeez, that was close. I almost attacked them. That would have been bad. Alright, so Yemen sent fleeing over to Ginda. I think I'm going to go wipe them. Stack wipe. Stack wipe! It used to be that stack wiping an army gave you a ton of prestige in army tradition, but this time, nowadays, I think they've nerfed that, so I only got 1 army tradition and so a little bit of war exhaustion and 3 prestige. It used to be a lot higher back in the good old days. So let's detach our little friends and split off 1 soldier to go siege up down there. So hopefully my vassal will go and siege up this province, although honestly this vassal mechanic where you tell them which province you want them to siege, I've never seen it work. Yeah, I don't want to move out of Kinda because I currently have the siege of that province, so I'm just gonna let the bad guys have a Dan. A Dan! You get a Dan! Who wants a Dan? I want a Dan. Yemen is willing to give me a single province. Am I willing to take a single province? I don't think I have justification to take more than 1 province. If I stay in the war, I take war exhaustion constantly as my guys take attrition. Then Hejaz and Oman take a big bite out of Yemen, and then I vassalize what's left, and then I can feed him back his provinces from Hejaz and Oman later, theoretically. But that might involve staying in the war for a really long time and taking a bunch of war exhaustion. I'm currently taking 0.05 a month, which is a lot. I don't know. I'm gonna stick it out a couple seconds longer, but I think I'm probably gonna bail. I think I can leave this window open forever. Nope, I can't. I thought I could. I was wrong. Well, let's wait till they're full siege. You know what? We're never gonna full siege them because they own this island right here. So it's usually better to take a quick peace with Yemen because of their island. All right, we're just gonna take a quick peace with Yemen. Core that province. Get back home. Look into attacking the Hejaz without Oman. See, Hejaz and Oman tend to be allied, as they are right now. But if you attack the Hassa, we get to fight Hejaz without Oman. So how much army does Hejaz have? Hejaz, caress, TV. I wish I knew the alphabet. This would be much easier. There we go. Hejaz. So they've got 9,000 troops with a force limit of 8. I've got 8,000 troops with a force limit of 6. Let's ally the Mamluks. And see if they'll help me beat up Hejaz. That could be fun. We can't annex this vassal until 57, which is nowhere near now. Alright, let's fabricate a claim on Hejaz. Make Hejaz my new rival. Looks like we've got some provincial unrest. Now remember, all the provinces I'm taking are desert, one base tax, piece of crap provinces, so there's no reason not to increase autonomy. Like, I'm not really going to miss the 1 gold per year that those provinces give me. But I will be very upset by a couple of revolts, so I'm just going to increase autonomy now, and I'll decrease it again later. So, I've got 8 troops, Hejaz has 8 troops, Hassa has 2, so there's a total of 10 troops allied against me. Hejaz has 9, so I should probably make an extra dude. I'll go over force limits by 1. And then I'm going to attack the Hassa. Hopefully the Mamluks will come with me, but even if they don't, I'll be fine. And from this war, I shouldn't be able to vassalize the Hejaz in a single war, especially if they're not even a co-belligerent. I'll just take a couple provinces from Hejaz and use the peace deal to cut their ties with Oman, and then I can attack Oman by himself. Yeah, that's a good idea. So I can fight everyone once. That's funny. The Mamluks don't want to fight because they have a defensive attitude towards me. They'll be nice, cordial friends of mine in the future, but for now, they look on me as a little guy who's asking for their protection, not a little guy who's asking for them to spend money in armies trying to get bigger. So they do not want to help me kill anyone. If they fabricated a few claims against Hejaz, they'd be more likely to want to help. Alright, so I've got 7,000 troops with 2,000 more up here. This should be 9,000 total troops. So I can't let these 2 armies group up because then they'll have more than me. Looks like he's going to attack me, which is good. Because I have 9 against his 9. He's got a 1-1 general, I've got a 1-2 general. I can hire this discipline guy, and then I should win this. No problem. As soon as these troops get there, if they get there fast enough. Go faster, faster, faster! Ah! Very sad, very sad. I thought I would win that. I thought these guys would be there quicker. They didn't get there in time. I lost. And now I'm in Adal. Adal is with me in this war, but they're blockaded by Hejaz's navy. But it looks like the blockade is about to fall, and luckily Hejaz holds the siege here, which means that me and Adal can actually cross into Hejaz territory. Normally Hejaz would have to get permission to walk through Yemen, but they don't because of the way that siege is right there. If Hejaz declares peace right now, then we'd be boned. But awesome. We managed to get into Hejaz territory with our good guy. Alright, come join me, buddy. Obviously. Stability is going to be a big problem in this game. I'll tell you that right now. Right now. Money also will be a big problem. When you're a desert nation, money is always a big problem. Oh, look at how much reinforcing I need to do. So I'm tempted to chase and stack wipe, but I'm going to do it with only one of my soldiers because the rest of them have homework. So I'm going to try to use Adal's, my ally Adal's army to stack wipe Hejaz at Tabuk. But it's probably not going to work, and while I'm doing that, my other 6 troops should resupply fully. Come on, Desert Stack Wipe! Wouldn't it be cool if Operation Desert Stack Wipe was a thing? Operation Desert Stack Wipe. Hey, we stack wiped Hijaz. I lost my troop there, which is actually a good thing because I was over 4 summits and I don't need to be now that I just stack wiped my only enemy. So all in all, I'd say everything just worked out for the best right there. So now I'm going to stop saying to attach to me, switch my vassal to aggressive, and just let people spread out in siege and transfer the siege to me as they see fit. I am going to fire this guy as well and try to stop taking out loans for no reason, considering the fight's over. Why do I want loans? Not sure why my reinforcements are so... I guess all 6 of my troops were reinforcing at once, so that's kind of expensive. But once they're fully reinforced, the price of my army should drop back down. So war exhaustion at this point, because I'm being blockaded, should be about 1 or... yeah, 0.01. I'm up to 4 total war exhaustion because I haven't sat peacefully by regaining my lost war exhaustion the way that, you know, good guys do. I lost my king, so I'm at -1 stability. I'm almost religiously unified. So in 1452, in about a year, I'll buy 2 stability. Another thing I'm tempted to do that I often do when I'm worried about tech is just stay at -2 and -3 stability all game and rely on the humanism idea to prevent revolts. So hopefully Adal is gonna go kill the Hassa. Oops. Well, that wasn't good. But better rich with no army than having a giant army against nobody and being poor. Like, since I'm not fighting, I'm not even going to send my army back over there. Let's just hide inside our allies' territory. I think I lost a bunch of war exhaustion in that fight too, actually. Yep, I gained about 1 war exhaustion from the combination of this blockade and just being destroyed. So my super intelligent allies will know to siege out Hijaz first so that I can get a separate piece before we bother sieging up the Hassa. So I like the way that it all does the glorious intelligent thing. So I want to fabricate another claim against Yemen and one against Oman, although Oman is not yet my rival, so fabricating against them is a little bit risky. I could get some AE. Now that I've finished converting that last province, I can up my stability for cheap. But not quite yet. Maybe in 2 months I can get cheap stability. There we go. Revolt risk is pretty low everywhere. But my rebel factions are pretty high because my revolt risk had been higher in the past. If these guys successfully revolt, I lose nothing, though. It just gives me lower missionary strength, which doesn't matter because I don't have anyone to convert. And if these guys successfully revolt, like, they're not even close, but even if they did, it's no big deal, just autonomy. So I'm not worried about the revolts that are possibly coming. Ooh, instant peasant revolt. Look at that. It jumped up by like 1 million instantly. That's crazy. I wonder why that happened. It was at like 20% and then just became 100%. I think the heretics turned into peasants because I have 100% religious unity. So hopefully my allies will kill these peasant rebels for me. Usually that's what happens. Especially if you give them permission to walk through your territory. So I'm going to give the Mamluks permission to come kill rebels for me. And I'll give Adal and Baluchistan permission as well. And the Mamluks don't want to be called to war, but I wouldn't mind having a royal marriage with them. And Baluchistan, so far, Baluchistan has only helped me as a defensive person. And as a defensive person, they get blockaded by Oman usually. And if they can't get permission to walk through Timi and QQ, then they can't really help me. So I'm not a big fan of Baluchistan as an ally, but there are very few people that want to ally a desert, like a piece of crap in the middle of the desert, so I'm going to stick with Baluchistan for now. Yeah, dude. So that's going to be the end of this episode. In the next episode, we're going to see if our allies manage to win this war for us, or if we actually have to use our own troops to kill stuff. We should be friendly enough with the Mamluks to fight a no-CB war in Mazab if we can get enough provinces. Like, this one province would allow us to get a no-CB war in Mazab, and then we could westernize almost immediately. Assuming Portugal doesn't give back their only freaking province in Africa. If I can take this province from Morocco, that'll be good enough. So I'm relying pretty heavily on the idea that if I take one province from Mazab and vassalize them, I'll be able to core that one province. But that might not be true, in which case I will just have a province in the middle of nowhere and feel like an idiot. So we're going to do that next episode. See you guys.